Ladies and gentlemen, Halloween's a few short weeks away. Join us tonight on Talk is Cheap as we dig into ghosts. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of planet Earth and beyond. Welcome to another great episode of Talk is Cheap. My name is Pete Halbleib, joining you here this evening. And as always, to my right,
Dan Hohlfeld. What's up, folks? Yes.
Yes. How's it going, Dano?
I'm doing fine.
Good. Do you know what I'm excited about tonight?
What's that?
Tonight, for the trifecta, we have Timmy Savannah on the show again.
Timmy Savannah?
Yeah, that's
from
right.
Savannah, Georgia.
That's right. I call him Timmy Savannah. Is that all right, Tim?
Dude, I'm fine with that. What's up, everybody?
Oh, yeah. Welcome. Yeah, Planet Earth, Timmy Savannah joining us again for a third show in a row. It's great to have you, man. It's awesome.
I'm happy to be here.
I will say this, man. The first couple shows you were wearing a hat and you took off your show and you let your golden locks free. I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize that. That's awesome. Super
He's
cool,
got
man.
the rocker look. I used to look like that when I was in a band too.
Yeah.
Well, I was a suit and tie guy up until about 3 years ago, and then I was like, well, you know what? I'm just not gonna go to the barbershop and
see what happens.
That's where we're at.
Oh, right on. And, stay tuned because Tim is on the cusp of a huge new breakthrough rock and roll band. So stay tuned. He'll have more information coming up on that.
Well, we'll see.
All right.
Should we talk about our guns, Pete? We were shooting out before the show.
Where it went.
So, yeah, let's do that, Dano.
Let's go for a wide shot here. Check this stuff out, folks. I love my SMGs. Submachine gun, right? Of course, this is all legal, folks. This is pull the trigger once, get one bullet. It's not full auto, but it's a simple, I love this action, just ready to go. This is what they used on SG1, like first season, and it's there. Pete, what do you got there?
I got a couple of the old trusties here in my left hand, screen right. I don't know. I'm in my left hand. I call this the Silver Pig. 357 Magnum, 6 shots.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty nice. You get bad ammo, semi-automatics jam with these nice double actions. You just squeeze the trigger again. And over here, this is one of my newer additions. I won this, in Wisconsin, I don't know if they have this everywhere, but in Wisconsin, we've got things called gun raffles. So you buy raffle tickets and they give you guns. And I won this at a gun raffle. It is 1911, 45 caliber, made by Rock Island Armory.
Yeah, we were out shooting before the show. I'm going to throw some B-roll up for you guys, but crazy stuff. I think we hit quite a few targets, but my dad has a nice popping targets back here.
Yeah, he's got a really nice setup.
And it was cool to get him out again. I haven't shot much this year. I think I went out once more with my concealed carry pistol to make sure I was in practice. But got to do that every once in a while. And it looks like Timmy has something over there. Look at that, folks. Still getting the hang of her there. It's a 12 gauge, right?
Yeah, 12 gauge pump.
Yeah. It's I'm new to guns, so
yeah. It looks slick. Did you figure out the brand name on that one?
RIA Imports.
Okay.
Pawn shop special from up the street.
Right on. Well, I like it. It's got the stainless steel barrel on it, man. It shouldn't rust on you too bad. I'm hoping it's stainless steel, but it sure looks like it from here. That looks like a nice firearm. You'll have to report back. Let us know how it's doing out on the range for you.
Yeah. I definitely will.
Oh! Since you're kind of new to firearms, I know off camera I gave you a tip there for safe firearm handling. I want to give you an ammunition tip now. If you Google 12 gauge exotic ammunition, you will find so many different types of 12 gauge rounds. There's bolo rounds. There's like spiked balls. There's like flaming rounds. It's crazy.
All that, the dragon's breath or whatever.
Yeah, the dragon's breath. And there's super cool rounds. There's rounds that you can make that are designed specifically for blowing door locks off and stuff. So,
Crazy. This is so new to me.
You just stuck your head in the rabbit hole and you're about to get sucked down.
I think it's definitely important for you living in Georgia there, we get hurricanes. You're going to want to protect your property if, SHIT hits the fan here.
Right.
Like they did in LA.
That's why we got it.
That's right. That's important. I'm actually surprised that you went that long without it, to be honest.
Yeah, that was gutsy, man. I'll tell you, it did feel good, Dan, this afternoon to exercise some of our rights, constitutional rights and stuff, and so it was kind of.
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah, we were flinging America out the end of a barrel today, man.
America. So, folks, I'm going to put the voicemail number up. If you want to leave us a topic suggestion, you want to say hi, say you guys suck, say whatever you want to do. I don't even care anymore.
Comments about Quan from our live show.
It is 1-256-510-5234. 1-256-510-K2D4 will air it on the show. And if it's a topic suggestion, I'm just going to put that on standby until we do the actual topic. I think we actually have one laying there, and it hasn't been picked. I'm sorry to, I think it was Joel that has that one recorded, but what do? People got to do research stuff they enjoy. So it's still there. We might do it. It's there, whatever. But yeah, call in, folks. So Pete, what do you got?
Well, as we're here on the cusp of Halloween, about 3 weeks or so, I was going through some topics. You were just talking about topics that hang out there. This one's been out there for a while. It was a topic submitted by Jeremy Witkowski. Okay, and basically, in not so many words, he said, dude, loved your episodes that you've done on ghosts and stuff. You should do more things about ghosts. And I said, oh, that sounds cool and easy, so let me look at that and see what it's about.
Sounds good.
So really and I thought everybody can put ghost pictures up, right, on the internet and talk about ghosts and scary stories. But what I wanted to do is kind of like break it down a little bit and like, what are ghosts? What are they known for? What categories, etc. So I'm kind of approaching this a little differently. But I do have a challenge. Challenge.
Oh, yes.
For
Space Force.
Yes. That's the challenge horn now, Dan. Okay, so I'm going to start out and from a website, Ghosts and Gravestones. I thought it was a really good website. Got a lot of my information from there. It's super informative. But they say that there's 5 different types of ghosts. Okay. And I'm going to kind of break it down, explain a little bit what it is. I do have a photo included of each type to the best of my knowledge, if you will. But Dan and Tim, as we talk about these different categories of ghosts, please do your best to find additional photos. I thought it'd be kind of neat if you each found a photo, throw up there. We'll look at it and then move on. If you don't find one, no big deal.
Okay, so you want us to Google? Or just look up photos?
Yeah, Google DuckDuckGo is my kind of like my new favorite search engine. Thanks, Dan. Right? Yep. So DuckDuckGo it. I'm gonna start saying that instead of I'm gonna Google it. No, I'm gonna DuckDuckGo it. Doesn't roll off the tongue quite as nice, but it'll get there.
It will eventually.
So were we talking about this now? Or?
No, not yet. Not yet. Let me lead in because Dan just Googled ghost pictures, okay? And it's going to be a little more sophisticated than that.
Well, we'll see.
Okay, so according to the website Ghosts and Gravestones, there's 5 different types of ghosts or ghostly apparitions or ghost types, what have you. The first one is referred to as the interactive personality. Okay, so a little hint. Google interactive personality ghost pictures. I'm going to give you the first one to start. Okay. So, and this is the most common type of ghost accounts. Okay. It's usually of a deceased person, someone so somebody that that's died, a family member, or perhaps even a historical figure. They can be friendly. They can be not. So just approach with caution.
You're not your friendly ghost?
Nah, some of them are not. So anyway, they can be visible. They can speak or make noises, touch you, or emit odors. So, that feeling I was walking down the stairs and I felt something touch me on the shoulder and I smelt my grandpa's cologne, that sort of.
Oh, yes.
That type of ghost. And experts, if there is such a thing on ghosts, I believe there's people that are very familiar with it. Expert, that's a term. Anyway, moving on. They say that this type of ghost retains their former personality of when they were alive and can feel emotions. So anyway, if they're unstable, violent, and you tick them off or piss them off, well, then bad stuff might happen. They also go on to say if you happen to see a lost loved one, so a loved one that's passed away, there's a good chance they're there because they feel you want or need to see them. So you're really missing somebody, or you'd really like to, have your, see your grandma again or something. They can sense that and appear as well.
That kind of brings up the whole law of attraction thing too. People always say, oh, it's a coincidence that stuff pops up. No, if you're constantly thinking about somebody, their name or whatever, you're going to see it all over because it's going to be highlighted that much more.
Yep, absolutely. And, there's a lot to say about the people that do pass, they lose their spirit, so to speak, right? And where does that energy go? It's a measurable energy loss when somebody passes. So maybe, those thoughts you're having, those yearnings, if you will, are tuning back into that energy and bringing it back out. Super cool. So here's a photo of that I found, thanks Dano, of what I would consider to be the first type of ghost, the interactive personality. Here it is. It's a picture, although it's more your traditional. Here's a white sheet ghost. I couldn't even tell you the chain of custody or the provenance of this photo. Is just one that I picked up online. Dano, did you find anything?
I typed in what you said, and I got this was probably the best one I could find here. Right here.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, you see that? You can see, wow, that's a really good photo. Look you can see it's almost like a skeleton-like hand. It's definitely a figure. So that's cool.
But what you said to type in, I mean, look how much nonsense comes up.
Yeah.
How about you, Tim? Did you figure anything out over there?
I just sent one over to you.
All right, I'll check her out.
Right on. Yeah, we're trying something new on the show tonight, and we're getting Tim's unfortunately doesn't have the super control that Dan does over in Savannah, so he's got to send them electronically through the interweb to Dan, and Dan's got to grab them.
The one I just sent to you, Dan, is pretty crazy. I mean, I haven't seen an actual ghost before, but I've when I was living in San Francisco, I felt a presence walk past me. Okay, I just thought it was my good friend, so I just started talking to him. His name is Eric. I was like, "Hey, Eric, what's going on?" Blah blah blah. He's not responding to my conversation. I turn around, he's not there, and I look down the hallway, and here comes Eric. I was like, "Dude, I thought you were
behind me
in the family room," but I definitely felt something, and this was an old Victorian house that we were renting in San Francisco. So I don't know. I definitely think there's spirits, ghosts that are trapped in that world that are not really haunting us, but they don't know where to go. They're in, say, ghost purgatory lands,
Oh, nice. That's so interesting you say that, because we're going to talk a little bit more about that later, a little bit later when we talk about the lost ghosts and stuff.
Gotcha.
So that's cool. That's awesome. What you described to me when I first think about it sounds like a shadow person a little bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? That a figure that appears quickly and then choom's gone and stuff. So that's kind of interesting. And it's funny. We'll be mentioning shadow people. And you also said something ghost or spirit. And what's interesting is that the website does distinguish that ghosts are different than spirits. And there's such thing as ghost animals versus, spirit animals. So it's interesting. So there is a line in there between what is a spirit and what is a ghost. Not necessarily the same thing, but I think, for our conversation today, they could probably be interchangeable. We just got to understand they are different. So anyway, moving on, the second type of ghost or apparition is the ectoplasm or ecto-mist ghost. Okay, kind of appears as a mist or a fog that is floating. It's also known as the ghostly mist. Can be white, gray, or black. And sometimes people have claimed that this ectoplasm or ectomist appears before an actual full-bodied apparition, so before it takes shape of some more familiar object to you. A lot of these psychics, when they in the old days, I'm not even sure if I didn't find a lot of modern examples of photos of this, but back in the day when psychics and seances were a big thing, these psychics claimed that they were able to, in their meditative state and during their seance, raise ectoplasm and bring ectoplasm apparitions into the seance room.
Oh my goodness.
Right? Yeah, pretty interesting. So I found a couple photos out here, and the first one, Dano, if you want to scroll up a little bit. That one's pretty interesting. I can't explain that one too much.
Just smoking a bong.
Yeah, right, and just letting it exhale slowly out. Okay, so there's that one. Go ahead and check it. Let's check out this next one. Okay, so there's this, and this is supposedly ectoplasm that's appearing with the face of, I forget the guy's name now. I should have put it in the notes, but I forgot it. Okay.
I mean, I could put a piece of paper on my
face and
too.
with yeah, right. Okay, so scroll down
That's
a little
tough.
bit. And now here's another one, which looks kind of like a list of some sort of plastic bag or silk sack or skinned,
Yeah, it doesn't
skinned
look
chicken.
as smoky, does it? It's more.
Yeah, so anyway.
He's blowing his nose out the ghost.
Yeah, or the ghost apparition is coming out his nose or something. Yeah, so anyway, first one was interesting, could be smoke. The other two, I was like, okay, that just seems to kind of be like early,
Pranksters
Yeah,
stuff.
pranksters or whatever. Yeah, shysters and stuff. So, Dano, any luck on your end finding any other additional pictures?
Oh, I don't know.
Remember the challenge? Yes, it's a challenge. Okay, we don't have to do. We can move on.
I'm trying to run a show here.
Yeah, I know. You got a lot going on. Okay, so it was a novel idea. We got, and so anyway, third type of ghost is poltergeist. I think we were probably familiar with the movie, right?
Yeah,
And all the crazy stuff. Poltergeist means noisy ghost, because as if we've seen the movie, and if you haven't seen the movie Poltergeist, go watch it. There's a couple of them. The first one's the best, obviously, but they're pretty interesting. They can move things, knock things over, create disturbances in your environment, if you will. It is acknowledged to be one of the rarest forms of hauntings. So if you think you have a poltergeist, if it's legit, it's pretty unique. Associated with loud knocking sounds, lights turning on and off, doors slamming, and even fires breaking out. Okay? So that's pretty interesting. How wouldn't you love it if you had some ghosts in your house setting fires? That would not be cool. Typically, the events start out slowly and mildly and then begin to intensify. Again, these experts explain it as a mass form of energy that a living person is controlling unknowingly. So, whoa, is this some sort of fear manifestation that's taking physical form? Some people say that this is actually caused by the person experiencing it, and maybe not even a true, like
they're doing some like telekinetic stuff.
or something, or they're just bringing in this negative energy or something. Yeah, so it's a mass form of energy. So just a type of energy that they're somehow unknowingly controlling. So there's a photo here of some chairs flying through the room during a seance. That would be pretty terrifying, wouldn't it?
What was that video we were talking about? We did a topic on that. It was, I can't even remember the name of it. I'll have to put it down below.
Was that the one
They
where
had the chair thing going on?
Yeah, right. And then was that the same show where we talked about the guy that was communicating through the radio? And stuff?
Yeah.
What was his
It
name?
just slips my mind right now.
I forget too, Dano.
But yeah, stuff like this, going on there.
A lot of times, sometimes these, from not my total personal experience, but ghosts or apparitions or people from this other realm, they will maybe communicate through devices. Like, we hear shit through, excuse my language, through the air conditioner sometimes. It'll sound like, because we run a window unit, just to kind of have that white noise going as we're going to sleep. But sometimes we'll hear some weird things coming through that. And I think somehow, I don't know, I think there's something there. I think...
So this isn't something that happens all the time. It's just like...
it happens
rarely?
it's happened in the last couple of weeks. It's happened 2 or 3 times.
I'm kind of wondering if maybe through your vents or whatever, if the wind's blowing right or into the thing.
It could be that. It could be just the way the fan's running, and it could be just our brains thinking there's something there.
Interpreting it, yeah.
Creating some sort of frequency just right.
You're half asleep. You know, I don't know if it's actually something, but sometimes it really does feel like, oh, maybe that is something. And it feels kind of spooky. So, I don't know. Maybe there's something there.
All right.
That's where I got from some of these pictures. When I got that feeling.
Well, interesting. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that too, because every now and then I think that I hear voices. I think it's partly because I'm losing my hearing, but it's like, I swear I hear people talking and then it's like gone again. It doesn't happen that often, but it's like, it's every now and then it's like, I swore I heard voices. And then there's nothing there. It's similar to, all right. Yeah. So it's interesting you mentioned that. Okay.
It's a lot of times when you're really obviously on the cusp of falling asleep. So maybe that's just the way our brains work. Maybe. So I'm a skeptic, but I also like to believe there's something.
Yeah, it's fun to explore the topic, right? And at least hold out some hope that something's going on there. That's what I like about them. Okay, so moving on. So we just talked about poltergeists. I hope you don't have one. The next one, orbs. All right. This is the most documented, most photographed type of ghost or apparition, if you will. It appears transparent or translucent, appears as a ball of light that is hovering over the ground. It's believed that orbs are the soul of a human or even an animal that has died and is traveling around from one place to another. They take on this orb shape because it makes it easier for them to move around. And it's often for the first state that they appear before, again, they take a form that you recognize, a full body. They're usually white, but can be blue as well. I'll say they can be various colors as well. When Boyd was on the show, Boyd Hansen did a show on some of the ghost hunting paranormal stuff that he did as well. And he had some photos, and he is a staunch believer that you can see straight edges in the real ones. I showed him the photos that we took out at ECETI. And,
what do you think?
He dismissed a lot of them, but then he pointed one and said, well, that one's interesting. That one's got my attention.
So what did he think they were, though?
He think it was mostly dust.
Oh, really?
He looked at it and said, oh, that's mostly dust. And I took him through and he's like, oh, that one looks interesting, though. Oh, that one might look interesting. But he said most of it's just dust. I vehemently disagreed. I kept asking, where's the dust in the other pictures? Where's the dust in the other pictures?
The one thing I noticed when we were taking some of those at ECETI and they were using their cell phones to shoot video, you would see those bug things, or they were claiming that they were orbs. I don't think they were orbs. I think there was some kind of a bug thing that you're going to have a flash. They're going to kind of come up by the light and do their thing.
Could be. Yeah.
I've looked at a lot of my old pics. I've been going through a lot of my old hard drives, and I see a lot of little circles in a lot of my old digital camera pics.
Yeah.
So I think. I don't know. A lot of it might just be you just really want to believe something.
Go ahead.
Back on the orb thing, though, I hated that when I had a digital camera. I took a picture and that was in there. I was like, "What the hell is this?" I wrecked my shot, and I was I got more frustrated.
Yeah, and it's funny too because what's interesting about the ECETI pictures that we took of orbs is that there would be a group of people that say, okay, we're going to go out, we're going to, focus our energy and try to call some orbs in. And of course, people get their cameras out and start taking pictures. And I would just take, as quick as my camera would take, picture after picture after picture, and you'd get 3 in a row with nothing, and then one with orbs, and then nothing again for 4 or 5 pictures. And it's like, okay, so if it's bugs, if it's dust, where is it in those other pictures? Right. But that said, moisture could be doing something. But again, where's the moisture in the other pictures?
We did have that rainy. That's when they were out there taking that video.
Yep.
That's why I think it might have been some of that rain.
Could have been, right? Yeah, it could have been.
Again, that leads back to the other thing about it's not really dust then, because it's kind of the ground was damp enough where it's can't kick up, I guess.
Well, and it's not going to disappear completely in 3 seconds. You're going to see remnants of it.
Boyd did make one on purpose with dust, didn't he?
Yeah,
he showed us that.
And he took a bunch of pictures, and they all had dust orbs in them. And whereas this one, it's like, literally 3 seconds before and 3 seconds after. If they're bugs, if they're dust, you'd think you'd at least catch a couple of them reflecting, right? And not all of a sudden, boom, there's 2 dozen and then nothing. Then again, if there were orbs there, maybe you should think you could catch all the orbs too. What makes digital cameras so special?
Yeah, with older technology, I don't know.
Yeah, like try a Polaroid so you can catch them in there. That would be something.
They probably actually they figured out a way in the cell phones to be able to get rid of this crap because it was wrecking all the pictures, and they're like, we got to figure out a way to get this to work.
People are asking too many questions, so they render it out as soon as they recognize it. So anyway, Dan, scroll down a little bit. There's a picture. This is your kind of standard orb photo. This is kind of neat. Neat photo. This is, you Google orbs, orb pictures or, ghost orb pictures on DuckDuckGo. You will find so many of these. It's pretty cool. So, inconclusive to me too, but pretty interesting. And I'm not entirely sold. It's all dust and bugs. Funnel ghosts. Okay. That's a new one, right? You ever heard of a funnel ghost before?
I never have.
No.
Come again.
Yeah, funnel ghost. It's called a funnel ghost. These are most often spotted in homes or historical buildings. They're frequently associated with a cold spot. You've heard the stories. I was walking through and I got a chill. And they tend to take a shape of a swirling funny. And experts, again, believe they may be of a loved one returning for a visit or even a former resident of the home. So here's a little kind of picture of what a funnel ghost would look like. So those are your not necessarily like full like figure ghosts, but more of apparition-y, right? Here's your.
Well, that's interesting because when you said loved ones, it looks like it's hugging the person.
Oh, it kind of does, yeah, or leaning in toward them, yeah, going.
This arm back here looks like it's behind.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and it's kind of humanoid-esque, isn't it? You can kind of see a head and legs. That was a pretty interesting one, too.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. There's other kind of variations of ghosts and things that ghosts can take on. There's something called a crisis apparition, and that's a ghost sighting that happens typically just once. It's a one-time experience, and that's when, like, if somebody passes away, and let's say that Dan, we're here and, my brother is in Illinois and he's in a horrible car wreck and he's about to die. Well, that's where I would have this sensational look and my brother would be standing there and saying something like, see you later, Pete, or good luck or whatever. And then it would be done. And then that's it. That's a crisis apparition. That's people experience that. It's one and done. So pretty interesting. And keep in mind with these type of apparitions, if someone comes to visit you more than once to give you information or comfort, that is a good sign they have progressed to your self-appointed guardian angel. So if you have this crisis apparition, but then they continue to appear to you, you might have your guardian angel identified. So that's kind of interesting. Believe it or not, there are ghosts that are unaware that they are dead. Okay. What was it? Was it The Sixth Sense? Right. That was a movie about that.
Like a common thing. Actually.
Yeah. Right. They don't even know the thing is they don't know they're dead. Right. They don't know how they passed. They don't understand that they've passed. These ghosts may see newcomers as invaders to their area because they're still chilling out in their old pad, right?
Oh yeah.
Yep. So explaining to the ghosts, talking to them about what happened can help them cross over.
Yeah, because you see that a lot. It's like somebody buys this piece of property, it's his place, so he's going to be a little pissed that you're moving in there and doing things, and that's when they have all the confrontations with these ghosts a lot.
So that happens. There's also ghosts with unfinished business. Okay. Typically found with victims of foul play, and they cannot cross over until justice has been served. So kind of like a Quantum Leap type ghost. Are you familiar with Quantum Leap, Dano? The TV show?
I was going to watch it, and I saw the date on it, and I was like, let's stick with some newer stuff.
Oh, Dano. It's pretty cheesy. So
that's what I thought.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, the premise of that show is that he fixes a right that once went wrong, and then he leaps to another timeline. Anyway.
Yeah, it was Dimensions, right? Another parallel dimension.
Yeah, it was in time or whatever. It was more in time. It was in time in our dimension, but leaping back and forth in time. Anyway, there's ghosts that are trapped or lost, and that's kind of what Tim said earlier about these wandering ghosts, these ghosts that don't know what they're doing or where they're going. these types of ghosts usually know that they're dead, different than the one we just discussed, but they just can't cross over yet. There might be a fear of moving on, or they fear what's not familiar to them. And here's an interesting, they could actually be held captive by another ghost or evil spirit. And fear is the driver here. They're afraid of things. Maybe they're trapped at this location because an evil spirit drove them to suicide. Dark entities feed off the fear of ghosts than the living. So maybe we've got some bad ghosts going on here. Common examples, someone died abroad and is now trying to find their way home. So it's a ghost wandering the earth looking for their way home. We've got vengeful ghosts. Okay, so a woman's murdered by a guy, and now she haunts and is aggressive toward all other guys that come into her area. There's hungry
ghosts.
Yeah, hungry ghosts. They feed off victims' fear energy. And some people think that if you leave offerings for them, they'll leave in peace.
Can you give me just 4 nuggets?
Yeah, no onions. Residual ghosts, right? Residual ghosts, they live out their final hours over and over again. They don't show any intelligence or self-awareness. They'll go right past through you without a flinch. Someone getting hit by a train on a full moon is an example. And now every time there's a full moon, they see people walking on the tracks. Now, I've heard of this one too, how phantoms will walk right through you. An old lady carrying a lantern or something. They're just going through the motions on the final moments. Living ghosts, I'm sorry, I skipped way ahead.
Now that might be the Paulding light that we investigated up in the.
Yeah, maybe it's
not the what we showed on the video. That was car headlights, folks. But the real one people see might be what you just said.
Yeah, there's some phantom or apparition out there that 300 years ago was walking down that road with a lantern, got mauled by a bear or a wolf, and now he's stuck in forever going through that cycle, That sounds depressing, doesn't it? In Blue Mounds, Wisconsin, there's a phantom that's spotted every now and then.
I think we have a ghost that lives in our house.
Yeah, yes. I talked about that a little bit ago.
Yeah, from the 50s.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He fell off the rooftop a long time ago, and I still feel like a presence only in the master bedroom.
Yeah, it's weird. It's only in one room.
And I only feel like him, like, kind of like looming over me, like at night, not threatening, like, but just watching.
Observing, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I leave the room and I come downstairs.
Yeah, he can't deal with it. I can deal with it.
Deal with it.
So how often does this happen?
Lately it's a couple times a month.
Yeah,
wow.
like, probably during a full moon,
Yeah, it's weird bringing the whole full moon thing into it. Things do happen on
Correct.
full moon.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, do you feel that it's been increasing or intensifying or anything like that?
I think it's more prominent during a full moon.
Yeah, but no, it doesn't like increase. It's kind of like the same situation. It's kind of like I feel uncomfortable in bed, and I'm like, I gotta get out of here, and I come downstairs.
Huh.
Oh, that's interesting.
But I have the animals. I have the dogs with me.
But sometimes the dogs they'll bark at
They'll
absolutely nothing. Like,
Yeah.
it's like they're barking at the wall. And
So it's like they get uneasy sometimes.
Ooh, yeah, that's kind of a sure sign there then.
Yeah. Well, keep us posted on that one, man. That sounds interesting.
Oh yeah. Moving on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, moving on to, we've got child ghosts, okay? They typically are lonely and seek attention. They can make toys and other objects move. Some people believe they're demons in disguise. We've got animal ghosts, not to be confused with animal spirits. Who knows why they're here? Numerous reasons. We've got living ghosts. This is interesting, okay? This is a living ghost can be when the soul leaves the body of a person that's still alive. Think of out-of-body experiences, astral projections, near death. So if you could tune in on this, you could be alive, send your ghost portion of you out and haunt anybody you want.
Wow, yeah.
Think of how cool that would be.
Kind of a nice carrier for
Yeah,
your
you go, someone's
vehicle.
pissing you off at work, you go haunt him for a couple months, scare the hell out of him. It'd be awesome, man.
Exactly.
Okay, continuing on. I stopped doing this. We've got spirits, we've got angels, we've got guardian angels, we've got animal spirit guides, we've got demons. A couple interesting things I came across. Elementals. They're non-human spirits with a connection to the elements of earth, water, air, and fire. They are also referred to as an older order of gods. We heard a little bit about that at ESETI with James. Fairies, they're also referred to as fairies and elves in other cultures. I don't think that might not be necessarily accurate, but I like the older order of gods portion. When you look at ancient, worshiping and stuff, the sun, the earth, the air, etc. Lots of civilizations have done that. Shadow ghosts or spirits. It's a type of spirit or ghost. The phenomena could just be a type of form either entity can take, but no one is certain. They can range from dark gray to black, and heights varies from 1 to 6 feet or even taller. They can be seen as dark smoke-like figures or blobs. Yes, and then you've got the shadow people. Not a ton is known about it, although we did a show on it and it has some pretty interesting footage on there.
Yeah, that's one thing too, is you can sit there and talk about stuff because talk is cheap, but to see that stuff on camera, that's a new ball game.
Yeah, it is. And there was some good stuff I felt on that one.
Yeah.
There was some, if it was faked, it was done very well. Some people just think they're observing from another dimension. So are they phasing in and out? They may not be ghosts or spirits at all. Tall, black, humanoid, red eyes and no necks. Although I don't know if we saw anything with red eyes on the show.
No.
But shadow-like black masses as well. So that's interesting. It finishes out talking about shadow people, which I think could easily be mistaken as a ghost, but you might want to draw that line there.
And depending on where this is, like if you see it, because I've heard the stories about seeing red eyes in the woods and it tracks you, and that leads into the Bigfoot thing right there. Because they've had cases of red eyes, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Red and orange and yellow, all sorts of different color eyes in the Sasquatch. So yeah, is it one being mistaken for the other? Are they maybe the same? Maybe these shadow people can take a form too, right?
Right.
But couldn't some of these things be expectations in our mind?
Yes, absolutely. And I think kind of like when we talked about the poltergeist thing, I think if you get things in your head, whether or not it's a true physical manifestation, eventually you could quite possibly see what you want to see, right? Yeah, and I'm not saying this is all of it. I'm sure it happens that's the case. But then again, you talk to people and they say, in order to see this type of stuff, you have to open your mind, you have to welcome it, you have to ask for it. So you need to want to see it to be able to see it. So where does that line cross?
You got to be on that frequency, because if you're not on the frequency, you can't see
the stuff.
It.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So because if you put up that mental block, just like with alien abductions, the first thing you're supposed to do is envision yourself in like a protective shield or sphere.
Yeah.
So if you're shutting it down to the possibility to begin with, these types of apparitions aren't going to show themselves to you. Typically, I will say.
Like, well, you have to do like a mental block.
Yeah, that's a good way to think of it. Yeah, brain block. You tell them, no, you're not welcome here, and we don't want to see you, and sometimes that's enough to get them to move on.
So I type in real ghost pictures on DuckDuckGo and to get some of the most fakest shit ever.
That's
yeah. There's a lot of chaff with
open
the weed.
yourself up to it, or you block it out. I guess it depends on how you feel about it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, if you're not willing to believe it, your chance of having an experience are extremely low. But then again, you don't want to convince yourself so much that you're making stuff up in your own mind, hallucinating, what have you, putting stuff where it isn't.
Because that leads back to when we were watching the stars, you can, in your mind, you can envision it moving all you want, but it's still in that spot that your eyes plays tricks on you too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you're expecting to see something, your brain will try to fit it in, right?
Have you guys ever heard of this place? It's down in Florida. It's called Casa Dega.
No.
It's a whole town. It's about an hour east north of Orlando. It's a whole town of mystics.
Oh, cool.
There's an old haunted hotel there. I've gone there a couple times, it's pretty crazy. Maybe we could even do an entire episode on Casadega. It's pretty. That the people down there, it's nuts. It's basically like 2 to 3 blocks, and it's every single house is like a mystic or a psychic, and there's the old Casadega Hotel, which is where like all the ghost hunter shows go. But yeah, it's called Casadega, Florida. It's an interesting little place.
Sounds like research.
There it is, right there, Casadega Hotel. I've walked around the hotel with an ex-girlfriend about 7 or 8 years ago. We stayed in right down there. We walked. There's a cemetery up the way, the Casadega Cemetery. It's pretty creepy. It's like it's not a bad creepy. Like I really felt like a really good feeling while I was there.
It looks like it's in good shape.
Yeah.
There's plenty of haunted places here in Savannah.
Yeah, Savannah's the most haunted town in
No, I think I've heard something along those lines before.
Yeah, there's ghost tours here. They have like cut off hearse that drive around downtown and take you to all the haunted spots. But yeah, Savannah's a very, very
there's
known
really
haunted spot.
like an old cemetery, like a colonial cemetery.
And what's the old cemetery here?
The colonial one.
The one, it's like 1800s.
Correct.
Because this is like old 13 colonies. One of the oldest.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah. We've got a lot of history here.
Yeah, quite a few. Yeah.
Is it called Colonial Park Cemetery?
No. What's the big cemetery here? It's the
Bonaventure.
Bonaventure Cemetery.
That
Okay,
one,
not even close then.
a little closer to the water.
BON Adventure.
Bonaventure.
It's super pretty. This whole town.
It is creepy, man.
It certainly is.
This whole town's got a creepy vibe, which is why I love it.
All these weird children's sculptures, man. Who had time to make that stuff?
Well, they did a long time ago.
Yeah, this is all
Apparently.
like literally right up the street from our house.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I got for us tonight. I wanted to kind of take us through, as you can see, folks, there's a ton of different types of ghosts, ways you can interact with ghosts. To be perfectly honest with you, I was a little surprised at exactly everything that's out there and how well it's parsed out as well. You know, we've kind of put some certain things in certain columns. So that was pretty interesting.
It's all happening.
It's all happening. Dan, you got any closing comments, sir?
I gotta show my gun off one more time for the folks. Oh, I love this thing. Someday they gotta change the laws though, because I want to put a vertical grip here.
As soon as you do that, now it's an assault
Yeah, I
rifle
can't-
or
yeah,
whatever.
I'll watch
SBR,
Yep.
short barrel rifle.
So it's a short barrel rifle if you put a 4
You'd
in
have
on
to
it.
get a tax stamp, which those laws need to change. It's gonna be more safe if there's a vertical grip on it, but I digress.
Yes, awesome. Very good. Well, I hope that the folks learned something about ghosts. I know I did, so that's really cool. Would look forward to hearing back from Jeremy to see if he's got any thoughts and maybe send us in a different direction. So
Thanks for having me again, guys.
yeah, thanks, Timmy Savannah, joining us. I appreciate it. It's been a trip, man. So awesome.
Definitely.
Absolutely appreciate it filling in there because we've been kind of short on
Yeah. We won't talk about that right now.
It's all public.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for sticking around with us and listening to us jabber on about ghosts tonight. Have a wonderful evening. I'm Pete Halbleib. Talk is cheap.
Stay safe.
Thanks for listening. Visit k2d4network.com today.